Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Why Not Us podcast. My name is Mike. I am joined by my bud Mike here. Let's start this off with why not the Jewish New Year?
Oh,
Not
talk to
sure
me.
if you not sure if you follow the holidays of my religion, but the Jewish New Year began yesterday at sundown, and we are a quarter of the way through the NFL season, and I figured things haven't exactly been going the way that we thought they would be going for our teams, and I'm
Mm.
sure a lot of other teams are feeling the same way. So, why not a little reset? It's a new year.
It is a new Jewish New Year indeed, and for good reason. Michael is starting off the podcast today because it's his day, it's his religion, and happy new Jewish New Year. Shalom, is that what you say?
Yeah, shalom is hi,
Shalom.
bye, and thank you. It's
Oh,
a
kind of
very
like aloha.
versatile word.
Right.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, nice.
So,
Congrats.
yeah, not super religious, but I do know a
Sure.
few things about the Jewish New Year. One of them, we always eat apples and honey
Mm.
because we wish for a sweet New Year. And
Okay.
what would be sweeter
Uh huh.
than our football team's winning this week? How do you feel about that?
We already won. We have the bye. We won. The Eagles won the bye week. We don't have to say a word about the Eagles. I got a couple texts like you talked too much about them last podcast, so that's the only Eagles word you have to say for me from this week. So, what Cowboys have a big game.
Cowboys have a big game. Glad we hit on the Eagles. I hope the people don't complain too much about how
Nope.
much we just talked about them.
That was
But you're
good.
right. You can't lose in the bye week.
Nope. We are actually undefeated in the bye week since the Eagles became a team. So it's pretty good stuff. Yeah.
And there's got to be something for being the first team to get a bye week. That's not an easy thing to get.
I guess this week is the first week of buys. Yeah. Which reminds me, I should probably check my fantasy lineups. We're filming the podcast a little later than usual. It's a Thursday, and it'll come out on a Friday, so we will skip the Thursday night game, but a good one. What is it? Saints at Falcons. Falcons at Saints.
Bucks at Falcons.
Oh, Bucks at Falcons. And Falcons, I believe, were 2.5 favorites before this game. I probably like the Falcons, and I figured you would be the same.
I think I like the Falcons too. I like getting the points in a divisional matchup. I'm not really sold on either team. I think the Bucks are probably too high on themselves after a big win last week. The Falcons seem a little more level-headed.
Well, because the game already happened and we know what happened. What a win for the Falcons, man! We were all over that bet. That was such a lock. Look at us.
I mean, it was just so easy. Bijan got in on the
Oh
first
yeah.
drive. They started off with a touchdown, and they just never looked back.
Yep. I can't believe Tyler Algier had first touchdown score at plus 20,000. That was great. 2,000. Look at us. Wow.
I mean,
Mike,
we should just start. Yeah, we should just start traveling into the future, looking at who wins, and then coming back and filming the podcast.
My question to you is: do you think that's already happened? Do you think someone has already time traveled to the past and placed a bet? Because we don't really know.
No, we don't. And it reminds me of the first time. I don't know if you ever saw this movie, Hot Tub Time Machine.
Of course, classic.
So the first time that movie came out and I saw it, they obviously travel back in time. And I thought the first thing that I would do if I traveled back in time is place an enormous sports bet on something that I already know is going to happen.
Of course. What else would you do as your first time travel back experience? It has to be gambling.
I mean, you already know, like, you can't lose.
You can't. I mean, I think you and me would still figure out a way to lose.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, us going back in time, you know how they say you can, like, warp history
Butterfly
and change things? Right. I guarantee that we would go back to, like, even last year's Super Bowl and throw $1 million on the Chiefs, and then somehow us doing that would force them to lose.
It might not even be that. We might just forget who our bet was going to be and then take the wrong team. We'd bet against
We'd be like,
bet on this.
oh, I remember when Pacheco hit that first touchdown. Let's throw in Pacheco, and it wasn't Pacheco.
It was Samaj AP Ryan. It's like, fuck. God damn it. Oh, that's too good. Let's figure it out. After we're done with our podcast days, let's just get time traveling down. I mean, nobody's done it yet, and why not us? You know?
Why not us?
Why not us? You know, like I figured like we'll probably like run into the guy that already did it and he'll be like, you guys are idiots. You need to try this.
And then we'll be like, cool. I don't need to ask you any questions. Is there a seatbelt on this thing? Put me on it.
Exactly. What year? Don't care. As long as they at least had horse tracks we could go to, we're chilling.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you could go back in time, let's keep it on sports here, to any sporting event. Where would you go?
Or like year?
If you got a year in mind, I'll take the year.
I don't know why this was the first one to come to my mind, but the year it was like 1919 when the Chicago Black Sox, they had the big like massive cheating allegation with shoeless Joe Jackson. And that was like the biggest thing to happen to sports like ever at the time, right? So I don't know. It would be cool to like just see that part of history because it really shaped the way baseball went from there. By the way, I just started watching. By the way, rest in peace, Pete Rose. He has a cool like 4-part documentary on HBO. Pretty cool stuff, and he is more degenerate than we ever were, and he is just unapologetic about it. It's unbelievable. He's like a pathological liar that loves to gamble and just happened to be the best hitter of the baseball of all time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw a similar clip. He was on the MLB Network with A-Rod and someone else that I'm not going to remember. And
Big
they're
Papi.
just talking. No, it was...
Frank Jackson? He's usually on there.
It was, actually.
Oh, let's go!
Frank
I'm a
Jackson.
Beast, dude. I'm so good.
Wow. That was awesome.
Let's go, dude. Ball knower.
We're ball knower. And like we're losers. The fact that you got there.
Yes.
But
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just talking shop, and A-Rod's like, oh, so like you were a switch hitter. Like where was your power coming from? Where was the contact? And Pete Rose is like, obviously as a righty, originally I was more powerful from the right side. It was like a 6-minute video, and he's just like, yeah, you know, when you're in a slump, there's like 6 different ways you tweak your swing, and none of them is your swing. It's where you like move your feet, things like that. And A-Rod is like taking notes. I mean, he's retired, but he's like also one of the best hitters of all time.
Of course.
He's just baffled by the amount of knowledge that this guy had. So shout out P. Rose. His
nickname was Charlie Hustle because he would always, when he like had a walk, he would like sprint to first base, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, half of maybe more just hate Pete Rose, and then there's a half that, you know, especially if you love the game of baseball, which I do, by the way, especially now that playoff baseball is back. We got one game tonight for Mets Brewers, the only game that went to 3. That winner of that game plays the Phillies, and I don't want to see either team because the Brewers had our number all year, and the Mets just can't fucking lose right now. They lost last night, but they're hot. It's scary. And if we lose to the Mets, that's like my worst nightmare. So
yeah, I think the Mets and the Tigers, hottest 2 teams in baseball, 2 teams that were on the outside looking in for pretty much the whole season. I want nothing to do with either one of them. I am so thrilled that the Tigers took care of the Astros so that the Yankees don't have to see them. But the last team that I want to see in the playoffs now is the Tigers, which is a crazy statement that I would laugh at myself for saying 2 months ago.
Right. Yep. You never
Absolutely
said your
absurd
event that you'd go back to.
I also thought baseball was the first thing that came to my mind. I think it would have been absolutely insane to watch Babe Ruth call his shot.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a great one. Great one. Yeah. Yeah.
And he clearly did. Like, that's not made up.
I was going to say, or you could figure out if it's a myth, right?
Well, that's why I'd like to go. And I just think, like, watching him do that, and you're the only one in the stadium that knows what's about to happen. Maybe you're sitting right where the ball lands. Like, I don't even need the ball. I don't need to catch the ball. But, like, I mean,
what do you think
I
happened
think
to
that
the
would be
ball?
pretty cool. Some random Joe Blow caught it, took it home, probably never even sold it, and just was like, this is mine.
And then the
Sandlot
Yankees
kind of
were
thing.
like, yo, we had the ball, but it's just a random ball. God damn it. People can just fucking lie to us whenever they want, and we'll believe it because we're dumbasses who love sports. Another one that came to mind was like the 1936 Olympics that was in Germany right before World War II with like Jesse Owens. Yeah, that one came to mind. As far as football goes, I mean, like first Super Bowl, like it wasn't like the football wasn't the American sport at the time yet. It was, decade or two after that football started to take the reins from baseball. So yeah, baseball does come to mind first. I think maybe like golf, if we were like at Augusta when Tiger had that drop in on the 16th hole on Sunday, the Nike commercial, ball barely goes in, like just being at Augusta National period would be awesome, let alone one of the best Masters of all time.
I'm thinking through like even moments that I lived through that I'd love to relive through. I don't know why this is one of the most prominent ones, but probably because it was one of the happiest moments I ever had as a New York Knicks fan. But like to have just been like traveling along with the Knicks during the Linsanity run would have been fucking insane.
Or the 70s teams that actually won championships like that. I mean, New York basketball at the time with it wasn't Ewing. Who was the guy before him? Knicks legend. Charles something.
Oakley?
Charles Oakley. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. His teams, they won last championship they won, right? Like that would be insane stuff. I couldn't think of anything football because I actually think I've already been to one of the best Super Bowls of all time for Chiefs Eagles. I think that was one of the better games you could choose. You could probably put it in your top 5 Super Bowls, maybe one if you really wanted to. So nothing crazy comes to mind for that. But yeah, baseball, I mean, maybe we're in the mood. By the way, a little bit more pressure on the Yankees now, right? Like you can't lose to the Royals. You can't lose to the Tigers. You're the Yankees. You got to beat them. So I like what we're going to see, especially, 5-game series too, dude. They can go anywhere. We saw it with the Dodgers last year, losing in 3 to the Diamondbacks. Oh my God. Just, team gets hot like the Tigers are right now. So they'll be playing the Guardians, I believe. Detroit, Cleveland, that's cool.
3 AL Central teams out of the 4 AL teams alive.
No wonder the White Sox had the losing record.
Worst record in baseball. I mean, but that's historically been the worst division in baseball for a while.
Right.
And good for the AL Central, I guess.
Good for the AL Central. It's them and the Yankees.
Yeah. And I think we take care of business with the Royals. They're not super hot. They kind of slumped their way at the end of the season into just hanging on to a playoff spot. Traditionally in the playoffs, we seem to have the Guardians number. They seem a little better this year than the past few years. The Tigers scare the shit out of me. But yeah, this is the year for the Yankees. There is no excuse. They are the best team in the AL left by far. I'd argue they're the best team in the playoffs now that the Astros are gone. And I mean, if we don't win this year, you start to have the conversation of, are you wasting away Aaron Judge and his career? Like, he hasn't won anything. He hasn't been to a World Series.
Right.
And he's the greatest hitter on the planet right now. And you start to compare him to someone like Mike Trout, who on a whole nother level was never even making the playoffs. At least Aaron Judge is on good teams. But like, for one of the best hitters in baseball history and the number 1 best hitter in the league right now, and he's not winning championships, this seems like a year where you have to get it at least to the World Series and compete in the World Series, or else.
It's Mike Trout-esque. being, best hitter in baseball. I mean, you can have your Shohei argument, but obviously this is the Yankees. It's not the Los Angeles Angels, right? Like, you can't make that comparison. Like, Mike Trout is expected to not make the playoffs and lose championships. The Yankees, especially with a player like Aaron Judge, and now Soto, Chisholm, a lot of expectations. This is what you signed up for, being a fan of the teams you root for, Mike. And I hope it all comes crashing down for content. You're my friend. I don't wish anything bad upon you. I do wish bad upon the Yankees. We gave our predictions. Here's where I'm at. I think the Yankees get to the World Series. I think this is the year they do. I don't know if they win it, but this is the year they get to the World Series. And I think the Phillies will be there too, for the sake of the Why Not Us podcast. Vegas wants that to happen. They know that's what's going to make the ratings go up. But I will be scared if the Phillies meet the Dodgers in the NLCS, because out of the NL teams, and honestly, that's the thing. If the Mets win tonight, then you have the option of it being either Mets, Dodgers, or Phillies versus the Yankees. Now, even the Padres are a juiced up team with the talent they have, but like those three markets versus the biggest market being the Phillies, and those three might be like the next big three, right? So like we might be lined up to have one of the highest rated World Series of all time, and I'd be scared about the Phillies like not getting in, because I mean, maybe I'm putting the hands in Vegas and whatnot, but like they would like to see a team like the Dodgers play the Yankees in the World Series. Absolutely.
For sure. If I was an NL team, I would be the least afraid of the Dodgers. They just haven't proven that they can do it in the playoffs. Padres are a damn good team. The Brewers are a good team. They're young, and I don't think they'll get all the way, but they have the potential. Mets are probably the hottest team in baseball. Lindor's, I mean, there's an argument that Lindor should have been much higher in the MVP conversation all year. If you look at his numbers, if you want to break it down to most valuable player, if you remove whoever that MVP would be from their team, the biggest drop-off, it's got to be Lindor.
Yeah, and I mean, the Mets weren't supposed to be this good. This was a rebuilding year. I remember their owner, after the dumpster fire and them selling a lot of pieces last year, was like 2026 is our year, and they're here. So I fucking hate the Mets, but props to the Mets. I'm sure their fans are happy. Cool. Baseball. It's going to keep rolling. Speaking of baseball and just October as a whole, we're happy to announce that me and Mike made it a full 2 days in our minus 500 challenge. My bad. We panicked yesterday. We were both at work. We didn't really get to do our research, being the ball knowers we are. We took Max Fried, 4 or more strikeouts. He had 2 strikeouts going into the 3rd inning. However, he did not pitch the 3rd inning. So we got fucked.
He got rocked in a must-win game that they did not win.
No.
And it was also a minus 350 bet. We didn't even get to the minus 500. We made it harder on ourselves. But it's the Jewish New Year. So we can forget that. That's in the past.
Yeah.
The new challenge, that was a practice round. And we failed the practice round.
We did.
It's practice, so it doesn't count. It's almost like we didn't lose $100.
Exactly. Our plan all along was wait until the Jewish New Year, which I totally knew was today. So here we go.
And along with that, the Jewish New Year has been coincided with the beginning of an unreal football stretch.
Yes.
Where we have football for the next 55 days. Yeah, I feel the most comfortable betting random Tuesday night Maction games that I know nothing about. And now we can bet football for all 30 days of the challenge. It starts tonight. We will post our bet once we make it. We're not going to panic and try and do it on the spot here.
Never.
Now, what we are going to panic and do on the spot here is we're going to pick the winner of every single NFL game.
All right. Let's get into it. You didn't have anything more? Great questions, by the way. That was good. I like you leading the podcast.
Thank you. I don't mind it either. It's been fun.
You're a performer, dude. You're for the audience.
Yeah, and if anyone was wondering, I am wearing a button down. I bought this shirt when we took a trip to New Orleans sophomore year of school. I consider it to be my gambling shirt. If I'm ever going to the
Nice.
casino, I put it on. It was very New Orleans-esque and just
Very.
became a shirt that I'm going to be a degenerate in.
Mm-hmm.
And after a rough and sloppy week last week, where I actually still hit the big bets and was profitable, back-to-back weeks of winning money,
Mm-hmm.
shout out me. I feel really good. I'm seeing the slate. I'm feeling like a degenerate. I'm going to stay composed,
Yep.
but also not. And this might be the week that I sweep the slate.
Oh, 16-0.
It just might be. That's what the people are saying.
Well, we already hit the Falcons bet. I mean, what a win by them. But let's keep it going. You name the game, you name the spread, and let's do the 1-2-3 again. Because I went 8-8, and that's a win for me. So I'm going to keep doing that until it loses. And then I'll switch it up. So let's do it.
Cool. First game. Fun. Early morning Sunday. 9:30 a.m. start for me on the East Coast.
7:30 me. I will not be awake.
It will be 3:30 in London, England, where the Jets and the Vikings are taking a trip over the pond. The Vikings are 2.5-point favorites in what's technically a home game for them, but realistically in a stadium where the people wear any football jersey that they have and they don't know who they're rooting for.
It's not Wembley, though. It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
You're a Liverpool guy, yeah?
Big Liverpool guy.
Nice. How are they doing this year?
Great. First place.
Really?
New coach. Yeah. First place in the league with a new coach. It was actually incredible. There's a lot of things that I like about soccer. Every time we get back to football season, I realize football is the greatest sport ever. But I really do like soccer. There's a lot of things I like. And there's some sort of respect that soccer players have for each other, that the managers have for each other. That's a bit different than most American sports. Jurgen Klopp was the head manager of Liverpool for like the last 10 years. Absolute legend, will go down in history as one of the greatest coaches, won them pretty much every trophy you could win, and decided, I've done this for a while. It's time for me to step away from soccer. I may come back in a year or two, but I've won everything I could here, and I want to spend some time with my family. Nice. So then, after the last game of the season last year, where it was already announced he would step down, there was these rumors that were more than rumors. It was going to happen that this guy, Arne Slot, Dutch guy, was going to take over as the head coach. And after the game, they're doing this whole ceremony for Klopp, and they're praising him. Everyone stays in the stands, and they're cheering. And his final, goodbye speech ended with him starting an Arne Slot chant. And the whole crowd erupted in this chant that the Liverpool fans have made for this coach.
That's cool.
That is literally taking the old coach. The old coach is starting a chant to welcome in the guy that's literally taking his job. And that's something that you just don't see in American sports, and was a really cool moment. So, yeah.
I was going to say, that's the one thing I wish we had that English soccer has. Like, those guys can come up with a chant based on a player or like a team that they hate, like that. And I love singing. Like, why can't we do that during college football games more? Like, it'd be awesome. We have our bands and we play neck in Baton Rouge, right? So it's different, but I love that they do that. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an Arsenal guy, by the way. I probably don't know as much as you do, but I mean, soccer was my sport growing up, and I do have a newfound respect for it now because, when you're like playing a childhood sport, it becomes, like a chore you got to do, especially practices on weeknights and stuff. But in college, when I started playing again, and we actually in our fraternity won the intramural championship for the fraternity, which was great to be a part of. That's when I was like, oh wait, I should have loved this more. This is a beautiful sport. It's like riding a bike too when you play it again. So maybe we'll talk more soccer, especially when we're doing the podcast in 2026 and going to potentially the World Cup final, USA versus Japan at MetLife. I don't know.
Why
Maybe.
not? Why not Japan?
Why not? Can we bet on that? Just USA Japan final World Cup now.
Did you travel to the future and then come back to let me
I
know that's
did.
what it's going to be?
I did. You just called my bluff. You got it. Anyways, the NFL slate.
The NFL game taking place in England. Jets at Vikings. Vikings minus 2.5. I think the 3-2-1 thing was fun, so we'll do that again. I have an idea of who I think I'm going to take, but these things can certainly change. So let's just get into it. 3, 2, 1, Jets.
Vikings. I was thinking Jets that whole way through, and then I said Vikings.
I was thinking Vikings the whole way through, and then I said Jets.
Can I give my reasoning?
I would love to hear your reasoning.
The Tottenham Hotspurs are a very big disappointment every year. And if there were a team to be more disappointing in this game, it would be the New York Jets. I do like the Jets, though, because, I don't know if you've been on Twitter and whatnot, but there's a lot of talk about how the receivers just aren't on the same page as Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to get better. That's just going to constantly get better by the week. But, yeah, give me the Vikings, right? I also am going to relate this back to the head coaches. When you travel to a game, you got to be prepared accordingly, right? You have all your shit together as far as game plan, travel, all that jazz. I don't trust Robert Saleh to fucking take out the trash right now. So, and I love Kevin O'Connell. He might be my favorite coach in the NFL. So give me the Vikings, not to even mention the Sam Darnold revenge game that's coming in London. Man, those fans are going to get a treat.
Yeah, I was all Vikings, and I love it, and it makes sense. I mean, we literally talked about it the other day, and I thought the spread was going to be -7, and I was way off. Something just doesn't make sense. These England games a lot of times tend to be gritty, shitty field, low scoring. I don't know. I think the Vikings aren't going to go undefeated. They have to lose at some point, and why not Sunday?
Why not Sunday? Let's see it. I also expect a low-scoring game. Good Vikings defense, a lot of travel. Under in that game sounds good too.
The under in that game does sound good. It's 40.5, which isn't a lot of points, but maybe Sauce Gardner D's up Justin Jefferson, and who knows?
Same thing on the other side of the ball too with Garrett Wilson. Yeah, cool. All right, what's the next game?
Next game, great game. Huge game for the home team. We have an AFC North battle. The Ravens are visiting the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Ravens are -2.5 point favorites. The Bengals playing better. Trey Hendrickson is starting to figure it out on defense. They got their first win last week. Ravens are only 2-2, so Bengals win this game, and suddenly they're both sitting at 2-3.
Wow.
3, 2, 1, Ravens.
Bengals. Wow.
And we fade each other. Are you taking notes, by the way? Because I was going to, but I'd be better if you did. Cool. Yeah. I'll start. I think the Ravens are a better football team. I think the Bengals still have some work to do. They absolutely need this game, and they're not going to get it. I know you're still in on them making the playoffs.
I am.
I think I'm leaning towards already being out on them making the playoffs, and after they drop to 1-4, I am officially out on the Bengals making the playoffs. It's not their year. They hopefully pay Jamar Chase in the offseason and get better for next year. I really like Joe Burrow, but there's just too many question marks around that team. And Ravens are going to run the ball down their throat and take care of that game.
I'm thinking divisional game, always close, especially these two teams in Cincinnati. You said it best. They need the win. I also am thinking about the game the Ravens just had last week against the Bills. I mean, they blew them out, which means two things. One, public's probably going to like the Ravens a little bit more in this game, especially it only being 2.5. But two, they're probably, going to come down a little bit. That's at least what I see in my eyes. So I like the Bengals. They always keep these games close. I'd also love to check history of this game because it feels like the Bengals usually beat the Ravens. But also the AFC North is just all over the place. But they're usually close games for every single matchup, not just
Agreed.
this one. So
Yeah.
I like the underdog. I took 2 dogs so far, and you've taken 2 favorites. I like where I'm at.
I love where I'm at. I think the biggest question around the Ravens was, can they hold on to a lead? They were in a lead in every single game. They blew a few of them. They made a few close and held on. And they didn't hold back on Sunday night. They absolutely blew out the Bills, never gave them a chance to come back at all. The rushing game with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is only going to get better by the end of the season. We could be arguing if that's the greatest quarterback, running back, rushing tandem in NFL history. And I think that all starts with Sunday.
Cool.
Next game, also a divisional game and a much shittier game. The line is very interesting. The Colts are visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I hate it. God damn it.
What do you think the line is?
Is it like a Jags -1 type situation?
Jags -3.
Jags -3. Interesting. Do we know who's starting this game?
For the Jaguars or the Colts?
The Colts.
I believe Anthony Richardson is slated to start.
Okay. Do you like that more or less? Would you like the Colts more if it was Joe Flacco?
Well, it's interesting. I have Michael Pittman on my fantasy team, and I love Michael Pittman more with Joe Flacco.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
And he looked flawless. I mean, he stepped into last season with the Browns, had no issue, took him to the playoffs. He stepped in last week, had no issue in that game. I still like AR at the helm. He's the better quarterback. They can do more. It's a different offense. Let's just get into the pick, and then we can talk more. 3, 2, 1, Jaguars.
Jags. Yeah. I like the Jags. I actually think, obviously slow start. They're 0-4, right? So they got to win. Doug's still the coach. But I actually do think the Jags are the better team. I think they're the better roster in this game, right? I think the Colts are way better coached. I think Shane Steichen, I promised I would have mentioned the Eagles, but I miss Shane Steichen more than anyone on that team. He was the glue that kept that offense together. But, home team, people are going to like the Colts in this spot. And the Jags looked a little bit better last week. They should have won that game, but Trevor Lawrence just, was bad. So he'll be better, right? And they're healthier. I think Tank Bigsby's showing us a lot too. So they kind of, and the Colts have the worst run defense in the NFL. So as long as they don't pull a Bears and just decide not to run the ball, they can control the outcome of this game. The line is a little bit weird, but I get why it's there. So give me the Jags.
I agree. I think the line is weird. I still think on paper the Colts roster is better, but not by much. And I think the Jags are better than 0-4. They deserve a win. I think the public is going to be all over the Colts here, thinking, why is a team that doesn't have a win yet laying points? Divisional game. Yep. I think this one's free.
Cool. Let's keep it rolling.
Other really shitty game.
Well, let's just pick the shitty games. Keep going.
Yep. Dolphins at Patriots.
Oh my god.
Patriots -1.
Gross. Tua might be back this game though, right?
No, he's got like another 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Patriots.
Dolphins, I guess.
Oh
fuck,
dude.
Oh, they're gross. I don't want to give reasoning. I don't have reasoning. I just said the first thing that came to mind. Ugh.
Cool. Let's move past it. Ugly game.
God damn.
Basically a pick 'em. Not gonna watch it. Don't care. Next game. Browns at Commanders.
Oh, I like this game actually.
I'm off work on Sunday, which is rare, and I debated going to the game. And then I remembered I'd rather spend my Sunday enjoying myself than watching the Browns play the Commanders.
It's a
I
cool
will
game
say
though.
I looked into tickets, and credit to the Commanders fans, because this game is fucking way too expensive, and that means these
Nice.
guys are bought in on Jaden Daniels. They're excited. They're
Good
going to
team.
games.
Yep.
So happy for them. They've been pretty sad for a while, and
Me
since
too.
Dan Snyder's left, it's been all happiness for them. So
We're going to be like not happy anymore in like 4 weeks. We're going to be like, fuck, this sucks. The Commanders are good and they have a special QB. But what's the line?
Commanders are laying 3 points
Mm-hmm.
to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that goes up to 3.5 at some point.
I think people are going to hammer the Commanders.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Commanders. Oh, no.
I got a good reason for this one.
Hit me with it.
I love Jaden Daniels. He's my guy. He's going to win MVP and I'm going to be rich. But I also am a very big fan of Jim Schwartz, the defense coordinator for the Browns. And when he was on the Eagles and just history as a defense coordinator, he makes rookie QBs see ghosts. He's very good at it. He throws weird blitzes. I think we see a little bit of a drop off from Jaden this game. I mean, what? He scored 42 points against the Bengals, or like 38, and then 40 plus the next game, right? I think they keep it in the 20s. Now, that said, I don't trust Deshaun Watson to score points, but, you said it best. Public's going to be on Commanders. Maybe this is the last week you can get like a easy Commanders line around 3 points before people start taking them seriously. I'm not going to take him seriously, though, regardless of Jaden Daniels. I still think this isn't the year that they put it all together. I think it's next year. So I like the Browns.
I'm on the same exact thinking as you, except I'm taking the Commanders for those reasons.
Okay.
I
That's
think
so fair.
the public is still not taking the Commanders seriously. Vegas is still not taking them seriously. This line, if it was any other 3-1 team like the Bills or the Texans, or even the Vikings, probably not the Steelers, whatever, I could keep listing off teams, would be like 7 points. The Browns suck. They just lost to the Raiders. Like, sure, they could have won with the Amari Cooper thing, but they can't score more than like 20 points, and 20 is pushing it. And the Commanders score on every drive, even if Jaden Daniels makes 1 or 2 bad decisions and turns the ball over, they're going to score on every other drive. And I agree. This is pretty much the last week that you can get really good value for a really good football team in the Commanders.
You almost made me switch my pick there. I think this game goes 2 ways. Either the Commanders blow out the Browns, and we were like, that was the easiest pick of all time, or the Browns win in a close one.
We will see. I feel really good about my pick, especially that because you're not on it.
Okay.
Next game, much more exciting game after some lulls there. The Bills are visiting the Houston Texans.
Wow. 2 big games in a row for the Bills, right?
Yeah.
Visiting, too.
And the Texans have had some big games. They didn't really show up in that Vikings game, but...
Is this an 11 o'clock game or 1 o'clock?
It's a 1 o'clock game, and the Houston Texans at home are dogs. They are getting a point. So, very minor dogs. It's a pick 'em, basically. But the Bills, after the worst performance of their season so far, now have to travel to a fired up NRG stadium and lay a point.
This is a tough one.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Texans.
Bills. Wow, we're going against each other on a lot of these. My one question, I don't know if you have it ready, is Joe Mixon playing in this game? Is he back yet?
I believe he is playing in this game.
Really?
He was a game time decision last week.
Okay. I almost went Texans. I was thinking Bills this whole time, and I almost went Texans because I could see this being a thing like people are like start to get down on the Bills and question them a bit, right? They start strong, but maybe they're brought back to earth a little bit. I mean, I didn't love the Bills coming into this year, and they proved me wrong the first 3 weeks. So I could see them coming back to that, standard. But I have been a little bit weirded out by the Texans, right? I mean, it's at home. I think D'Amico Ryans is incredible, but I trust Josh Allen in the spot. I like betting on the Bills. I know what happened last week against the Ravens. I just don't think they were ever going to win that game. That was by far my best bet of the week, the Ravens last week. So I like the Bills. They're banged up. James Cook's a beast. I don't have a lot of reasons for it. I think Texans is actually a really smart bet here, but I'm going Bills.
I'm going to put an asterisk next to my pick. You brought up a really good point with Joe Mixon. They have not looked the same without him.
Nope.
Cam Akers hasn't been able to do anything. Ogumbawale has been their best damn running back so far.
Not Dameon Pierce, too.
Dameon Pierce is already officially out for this week. He's been injured all season.
Yeah.
But he was bad last year, so whatever.
Yeah.
I'll say I take the Bills if Joe Mixon is out. I take the Texans if Joe Mixon is in. That offense just hasn't looked the same. Nico Collins is going to continue to have a monster game. I actually like him in a lot of futures to have the most receiving yards.
Yeah, that's good.
By the end of the season, he's the fucking man.
Stephon Diggs revenge game.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of reasons like the Texans here. But great game. That'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Hopefully it's not boring as shit because it seems like it'll be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And those are the games that sometimes are boring as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the shittiest game of the week. Talking about shitty.
Give it to me.
The Panthers are traveling to the Bears.
Oh, wow. Andy Dalton revenge game.
Yeah, he had a little stint in Chicago.
Yeah. What's the line?
Bears -4.
In Chicago.
Oh,
I hate this so much. That line is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just the way this thing is lining up, I have a few games I like. I'm not locked in on my lock of the week, so I'm thinking we recuperate here after we pick every game, and then we quickly decide what our lock of the week is. How does that sound?
I already know what mine is.
Okay, fine. Then I have my lock.
Okay. All right.
3, 2, 1. Bears.
Panthers.
Oh, you're the worst.
I think I'm getting good vibes from that team right now. They've rallied around Andy Dalton. Deontay Johnson's had a resurgence. They have decent weapons on offense, right? So, and I still don't love the Bears. I know that defense is incredible. What's the over-under in this game? Can I guess it?
Sure.
37.5.
Give him a little credit. 40.5.
Okay. All right. I like the under. But I'll keep riding the good vibes from the Panthers. When you talk against the spread for the year, usually Vegas's goal is for a team to go 500 there, right? So Panthers against the spread are still a little bit below 500, but good vibes from the team. So I think this is one that they cover. Man, I fucking hate this pick. I suck.
Yeah, you're the worst, and you making that pick makes me feel even better. I am locking in the Chicago Bears as my lock of the week. This is a sweat-free win.
No.
I should have done it last week with them.
That's why it's not going to hit. You're just doing the last week.
No, that's not intentional, though.
I don't care.
I messed up last week. Because I knew the Bears are my lock of the week, and I was too afraid. And they beat the Rams comfortably. Now they're playing the Panthers, who turned the ball over last week against the Bengals. Mm-hmm. And that's why they couldn't win, because they had too many turnovers. Now they're going to face the Chicago Bears defense that is a turnover machine, doesn't give up yards, doesn't give up points, definitely doesn't give up touchdowns. And I love the Bears. Their defense is legit. It's going to win them games at home. The crowd is fired up. They're still bought in on Caleb Williams. You ask a Bears fan, and he's the MVP frontrunner. They don't have any questions about
That's
him.
not true. I know a lot of
100%.
Bears fans at work, and they're concerned. They are very concerned.
Big Cat is not concerned. I'll give you that.
And he's just the smartest gambler of all time, isn't he?
Yeah, no, but confidence is a big thing, and I've got all the confidence in the world that the Chicago Bears are going to win this game with ease. It's a 1:00 game. There's a bunch of earlier games already, so I don't even have to watch. They'll just show me every single touchdown on NFL Red Zone, and none of them will be from the Panthers. And I'm back on track with my locks of the week.
It's almost too simple with this one, right, Mike? Here's the thing. Here's what I always like. So bad teams like the Panthers, and you're seeing this from like teams like the Patriots as well. Well, early season, they keep these games close because teams are still figuring it out. And this is week 5. And I think we're about to start seeing the turn in a couple weeks where like the bad teams like the Panthers deservedly get blown out like they should. But give me a couple more weeks of just weird close games from these bad teams, right? Before, the teams they play realize they're bad and they should just kill them. And I don't trust Matt Eberflus to blow out any game. So that was their best win of the season against the Rams last week. It was still close, right? 4 points feels still decent amount-ish. I bet you it goes up to almost 6 by game time, but I'll take the Panthers.
Fine. I mean, you're picking a loser. You're going to be sweating the whole time.
It's not my lock of the weeks. I don't care.
Fair. The Bears are getting better every single week.
They are.
That defense is getting better. The offense is getting better. The receivers are getting healthy. DJ Moore is starting to get fed the ball because Caleb Williams has a brain and realized if nobody's open, throw it to my star receiver. And don't know much about the Panthers defense, but can't be that good because I don't know anything about it.
Definitely not.
Next game, as we finish, that was the end of the 1:00 slate.
Okay.
We move into the 4:00 slate. We have 4 games. There's no Sunday night football game?
The Sunday night football game is your team, Mike. That's why it's at the top of your ESPN. We'll get to it.
Nice.
What's the first?
Raiders are at the Broncos.
My friend Jimmy's really trying to get me to go to this game, and I just can't do it. I can't, just for the same reasons you can't go to Commanders Browns. I would just rather be spending my Sunday just doing anything else. What's the spread?
Broncos -2.5.
I hate every part of it. Go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
Broncos. Let's go. Bonix. 2.5. 3, just win by a field goal. Better team, better quarterback, better coach, better roster, very, very, very good defense. The Raiders will not be able to get 10 yards rushing in this game. As long as the Broncos aren't really, really stupid, which we've seen them be this year, this is a win. This is a win for us.
Agreed. And something that I've tried to stick to this season is, when possible, I like to bet on teams that I like. And for some reason, we like the Broncos.
Love the Broncos.
Not sure why. We do. And
they're a cool team. They're like an old school football team. That defense is legit. They don't let you run the ball. You have to beat them with these like very impressive throws or a better defense, which we saw from the Steelers. So I like the Broncos, and I think they're getting a little momentum here, right? Sneaky playoff team. Sneaky.
Wow.
Sneaky. We'll see, though. Bo Nix, I mean...
You want to guess the over-under in the Raiders-Broncos game?
38.5.
35.5.
Wow! That's lower than the Browns one from last week against the Raiders. Give me the under. Like, seriously. I'm not taking the over in this game. No way. Nope. Yeah, so we'll both take the under. We'll both take Broncos. Cool. Let's keep it going.
Love it. Cardinals are at the 49ers. The spread is 49ers -7.5.
Ooh, okay.
See,
Here we
this
go.
is like the opposite of the Commanders game, where the Commanders are only -3 because traditionally they haven't been that good. People don't trust them. The 49ers should not be favored by 7.5 points in this game. It's only because of their history and also the recent Cardinals history. But 3, 2, 1, 49ers.
Lock of the week.
Oh,
The
no,
Arizona
he's gonna say
Cardinals plus 7.5 is my lock of the week.
It's a bad bet, Mike.
I love
It's
it. I love it. I love it. It's too many points. The Cardinals shouldn't be 1-3. They should be at least 2-2. I love Kyler Murray to score points in this game. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. gets open. I think the Niners don't have any corners. I think they don't have the pass rush like we're used to. I think there's points in this game, even though it's a divisional matchup. I think Jonathan Gannon maybe dials up a good scheme for this 49ers offense. I know they're getting healthier, but 7.5 is a lot of points for a divisional game where the Cardinals aren't as bad as people might think. I think the main reason I'm taking the Cardinals as my lock of the week is I expect them to score points against this Niners defense and keep it close. And I don't expect the Niners to roll like they did last week. And I think they're going to get a lot of juice and love in this game. But I don't know. I looked at the slate and this just screamed my lock of the week. So the Cardinals plus 7.5 is my lock of the week. And I feel dialed in on this one. I thought about it. And I expect to be 3-2 with my lock of the weeks after this.
It's a bad bet, Mike.
It's a great bet.
The Cardinals hurt me last week. You know,
They did.
I didn't trust the Commanders, and I took the Cardinals, and they got blown out. They scored 14 points against a Commanders defense that is not good. And the 49ers defense is banged up and not incredible, but they're still the 49ers defense at home. I can totally see a Cardinals backdoor cover, but I don't see them ever really being in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And the line is too much, which then makes you want to take the Cardinals. I am not like the rest of the world, so I will actually be the only person in America taking the 49ers -7.5.
I don't know if that's true. It's still the Niners.
I talked to Vegas. They said they haven't received a single slip yet.
Oh, okay, cool. Glad you talked to him.
Yep, I called up. I only called one casino, to be fair, but
oh, right.
At the Bellagio, I am the only one. Do they even have a sports book? I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
By the way, sportsbook talks, I hope you never use ESPN Bet. Just boycott. I want them to die.
Never tried it. Probably never will.
They got rid of Zach Lowe. He was like the best NBA guy they had. Like they're just getting rid of all their best talent and they're signing these rights to all the games. I listened to Bill Simmons talk about it a lot. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent here, but ESPN's flipped because they used to be the network where like you had all these A-list analysts and personalities, and and even if you didn't like them all, you usually liked one or two of them. My guy's always been like Ryan Russillo, Dan Le Batard was a huge one, right? There's just plenty of guys, and it seems like they've just flipped completely, and they're getting rid of those guys and saying we don't care. We're cool with Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins giving you a nice little 15-second TikTok click, right? Where I guess that's where the revenue is generated nowadays. And they're like, just give us all the rights. We want the NBA. We want the SEC. We want the college football playoff. They even have the Super Bowl now in 2027. So they flipped, and I hope they crumble. I'm done with ESPN. I want to see something else. Sorry, but
I'm ultimately a loyal ESPN guy for the sports books. I'm a loyal FanDuel guy.
Me
I do
too.
agree with you. It's sad that ESPN has taken that strategy
Yeah.
where they've gotten rid of the quantity of great people and gone with a select few that just take over. The Stephen A. Smith, the Pat McAfee, the guys like that are.
And they're all the same. They're all the same. They're loud and they give you big takes that you can post on TikTok or YouTube Shorts and that get clicks. But really, like being the ball knowers we are, we don't like that. We want people that understand the sport and have brains like we do. Good ones.
And I'd love to be like a fly on the wall in like a meeting where they all discuss what they're going to talk about on like First Take or something after a big Sunday. Like, does Stephen A. Smith or Pat McAfee or these other personalities, Shannon Sharp, do they believe what they're saying, or are they like, all right, I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys suck and Dak Prescott blows, and you're going to defend Dak Prescott?
It's way more
they
the
don't
latter.
believe it. They don't
it's way
believe
more
anything they say, and they're just bickering to argue to make content, like you said. And
with all the layoffs, like you can't guarantee that what you actually believe is going to keep your job. You take a guess as to what is, regardless if you think it's true or not. Let's rip through the rest of the games. Let's even do Monday night, and let's end with the Cowboys game.
Love it. 2 more 4:00 games. The Packers are at the Rams in an interesting game. I believe Jordan Love is questionable.
Okay.
Oh no, he played last week. That was pretty bad on my part.
I don't know. He might have gotten injured again.
He might still be listed as questionable, but let's assume he's playing.
Yep.
Packers -3 in LA.
In LA. Okay. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Rams.
Packers.
Okay, good. Because now you have a chance to win. If we both took the Packers, we're fucked.
I was really afraid we were both going to be on the Packers.
I mean, this is just my classic take the Packers bet. Head coaches. Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur is a descendant. I think he's dad, right, in this game. So I know they're injured, but I still trust him to win football games like this. It's 3 points, so that I'm not asking him to win, just cover. I feel weird because I just love the Packers. I think it's a really good team, but I don't know. I think we could also do this thing, and maybe it's just a good content thing. Like if Jordan Love goes 0-3 this year and Malik Willis is 2-0, like let's start the next Tuesday pod by saying Malik Willis should be the starter. I don't have a lot of reasons. I just feel the Rams in this one. It's a tingle pick. So Rams +3 for me.
I hate the Rams. I think they got that fluke win against the 49ers. Not sure how they did it. They're banged up on both sides of the ball. They're bad. The Packers are good. They took them a week to get Jordan Love back into the rhythm of things. They are going to dominate. SoFi is a home game for whichever visiting team decides to show up there.
Yep.
And
especially
the Packers travel well.
Very.
So it's a Packers home game, and we lay the points. I think worst case scenario, the Packers win by 3 and it's a push. I don't see them losing.
Word.
Final 4:00 game. The Giants are at the Seahawks. Moderately interesting, but not that cool. Seahawks are -6.5.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Well, I just want to note one thing. The Giants had a Thursday night game, and the Seahawks had a Monday night game. That's like a 4-day rest swing here.
Ooh.
And it's in Seattle?
It is.
Okay. I hate this. I hate this game.
It's awful. 3, 2, 1.
Seahawks. I can't do it. I wanted to. I was really close, but I think Seahawks are good. The score didn't indicate how close that Monday night game was. They had a couple big mistakes that made it so that the Lions could do their thing. I still trust that defense. I know it was 42 points, but the Lions are a good team. You could argue they're the best in the NFL. So I just can't do it because I think Daniel Jones turns the ball over. If the Giants were to win this game, it would be the under. So, like, if you're going to bet the Giants, take the under with it because, like, that's how they win this game or keep it close.
Correct.
So, and Malik Neighbors, by far the Giants' best player. He's questionable. So, I like the Seahawks. Just better team. Give me win by a touchdown and I'm good.
Better team at home. They can score. The Giants can't. It's as simple as that. It's going to happen.
I feel like we're going to lose this one.
Somehow, some way. And like it's just like these are the games where it's crazy because it's like I can't envision a game where the Giants win that game. Like
Seahawks are going to win by 6. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What's the Monday night game?
Monday night, the Saints
Mm.
travel to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs.
Oh, good game.
Good
Good
game, but
game.
now suddenly the Saints are like not that invincible. The
Okay.
Chiefs are 4-0 somehow.
Okay.
Chiefs obviously favorites -5.5.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering if it was going to get to 7. It could still get there. I think it probably closes at 6. Okay. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Who dat?
Saints.
Saints. Yeah. Give me the Saints. I know they just lost 2 in a row, but both very close games. I think they're a good football team. Potentially better than this Chiefs team right now that is banged up on offense. Just lost Rashee Rice. Patrick Mahomes, yet again, his number one receiver is like what, Sky Moore? Because Xavier Worthy is not your number one option. He's your big play guy, right? So listen, I think the Saints have a good defense. I think they can score points. I think 5.5 is a good spread. It makes sense for this game, but I think we're aligned on just like, let's put our cards with the Saints and wait for the refs and Monday night and the primetime game to screw us over again.
Agreed. I think it'll be a close game. I do think the Saints are good. They, like you said, lost 2 close games. The Chiefs have won their matches 7 points against the Ravens. That was a weird opening night game. They beat the Bengals by 1. They beat the Falcons by 5. Easily could have lost that game. And they beat the Chargers by 7, where they scored a touchdown. The game was 10-10 in the fourth quarter. I think the game stays close. Like you said, Mahomes' weapons now are Kareem Hunt, second game in the backfield. Travis Kelce, old fart, hasn't done anything.
Nothing.
Xavier Worthy, big play guy. And then you've got Mecole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Justin Watson. Sky Moore will get a little bit more playing time. I think Xavier Worthy in about 4 weeks is going to be the fucking man, and they'll figure out how to use him like the old Tyreek Hill kind of thing. It's going to take some time to figure that out. The offense hasn't looked great, and they've lost even more bodies. Game stays close. Saints cover. Chiefs win because of the refs again.
Love it. Yep, exactly. But we don't bet on refs because we're lovers of the game. Let's just keep betting against the Chiefs just to prove a fucking point. I fucking hate the Chiefs.
Love it.
Michael, I'm gonna introduce this one. I've talked about it a lot for the past 3 weeks because it feels big. It's the first game of this gauntlet the Cowboys are about to go on, in which you said it, I said it, a lot of question marks still. I know they beat the Giants on a Thursday night game. I've had thoughts about this game for a while. If I'm not mistaken, the line is what? -2.5 Steelers?
It is.
In Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football, Tomlin, McCarthy, Dak, Justin Fields, a good defense versus a bad defense. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys.
Oh.
I am weary on the Steelers now. I never liked the Steelers. They were a little weird last week. I know they came back, but, all it takes is 2 Justin Fields mistakes and Dak to just play, the average Dak game for the Cowboys to keep this close, potentially win the game. Now, that said, this isn't my lock of the week. Yes, I'll put money on the Cowboys because I think it's a smart bet here. However, I would still be rooting my ass off for the Steelers in this game. And I could be very wrong, in which case I'd be okay with that. Here's another reason I'm taking the Cowboys. Every time I bet against the Steelers, besides last week, they win, or they do win. So I'm going to help you out, Steelers. I'm taking the Cowboys. And listen, let's talk about it, because Najee Harris, if he gets past that D-line, he's going to get good 6-yard carries, and they can control the momentum of this game. And you're forcing Dak to be a great quarterback, which you said last week you're a little weary about, against TJ Watt, against Highsmith, against that great defense that, the Steelers, how they win games is they control you. They make sure you do not control the football game unless they turn the ball over, which they did last week. That bad sack that Justin Fields had. I like the Cowboys, though, but for the hope that they're going to lose this game because I like them.
Yeah, we're really bad at, like we've talked about a few times, the Steelers and the Packers are pretty much our nemesis in the gambling world. When we bet on them together, they lose. When we fade them together, they win by 50.
I'm smart. I'm a smart guy.
As far as how I see this game going, it gives me nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys' offensive line is bad. The Steelers' defensive line is incredible.
Yep.
The Cowboys' run game is bad. The Steelers' defense is really good.
Run defense,
Brandon
especially.
Cooks just went down, so now we literally only have CeeDee Lamb on the outside, which scares me as well. On the defensive side of things, we can't stop the run, and that's all the Steelers know how to do. I do think Najee Harris sucks, but it's hard to imagine him not getting 5 to 6 yards of carry just by running up the middle like the fat ass he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about the Steelers receivers because, sure, George Pickens is cool, but they don't really, passing isn't their thing. It's hard to find an area of the game where, the Cowboys are better. And there's two areas of the game where the Cowboys are better. One, the kicker, Brandon Aubrey.
Hey, best Chris Boswell might be the second best kicker in the league, though.
He can have second place, sure.
They talk about those two are the ones that just consistently hit a 55 plus no matter what.
Brandon Aubrey's better. Don't care about that guy. And the area number two where the Cowboys are better is the quarterback. Dak Prescott is not going to be the MVP this year. He's not going to finish as a top 5 quarterback. He'll probably have a shit ton of passing yards because we can't run the ball, but that doesn't mean he's doing anything special. Yeah. But one thing he is better than Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time for the Cowboys to step up to the plate, acknowledge the fact that on the field they're not the most talented, but be a team that's hard to beat. The Steelers, hard to beat. The Falcons, hard to beat.
Right.
The Packers, hard to beat. The 49ers, hard to beat. Teams like even the Patriots still. It's a culture thing. It doesn't matter who's on the field. Those teams are hard to beat.
Yep.
And the Cowboys should be one of those teams. No matter who is on the field for the Cowboys, it should be hard to beat the Cowboys. It should be a competitive game. And even if we're not the better team, it should be hard to beat us. And it hasn't been hard to beat us this year. In our wins, we've looked good. In our losses, we've looked bad. And bad is an understatement. It is time to step up to the plate, acknowledge the fact that we are underdogs, that we're going to have to grind out wins, that it's not going to be sexy, but that we are hard to beat because we are the Dallas Cowboys. If we can't do that this week and we can't pull out a gritty win against a Steelers team that can't put up more than 20 points a game, I don't know where we go.
That was my question. And that's why this is a great week for the Eagles to be on the bye, because whenever, I'm an Eagles fan, but my second favorite team is whoever's playing the Cowboys. And this week it's the Steelers. And I think you said it best, because this game goes two ways. It's the Cowboys step up to the plate and they prove that they can win these type of games, and they go into this gauntlet with momentum and confidence, or the Steelers control this game because the Cowboys are bad and they don't have any answer. It's not up to them if they win this game. They're just a bad team, which we've seen. That's the big worry. That's what I've pointed out to you. Problems you can't solve, right? So we will see. This is a big answer. I think this is the Cowboys season. I really do. I really do. Out of the gauntlet, this is the winnable one, right? I think this is where you have to step up. You've had 10 days of rest. The Steelers just lost. They just gave the formula of how they can lose these games. I know it's at Heinz Field. It's a Sunday night. My God, that stadium's going to be rocking. Rocking. Cowboys are good on Sunday night. They show out on primetime games. And, the Cowboys aren't good at home this year. They've won their 2 games away. So that's why I think, listen, I'm going to lean towards the Cowboys aren't as bad as maybe we would think, and they show a little bit more this week. I don't think Brandon Cooks even means that much. Maybe the fact that they throw a guy like Turpin in there is better for the team. But Mike, this is probably the biggest game of the season. Obviously, you come down the stretch and you have big games against the Commanders and Eagles to decide the division. But this is like a mental game for the Cowboys. They need this just for the mentality of the team going forward. I think, this becomes a Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott thing if they lose this game, just like the Eagles last week when they lost, becoming a Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts thing.
And you said it well. It has to be Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy that win this game.
Yep.
Offensive play calling, not going to be an easy thing to do because you can't run the ball. You only have one receiver and a tight end to throw the ball to. Like, they're going to try and work Turpin in, but I can see the third play of the game being this fake end around to Turpin and he gets tackled 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like, that's what we can't do. We can't become predictable. Mike McCarthy needs to have, for the last 10 days, been living in his basement, figuring out the best way to call a game.
Yep.
And the only answer is to rely on your superstars. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and I know he's not a superstar, but Jake Ferguson. Those guys on the offensive side of the ball have to make plays.
Yep.
And we can't just do this run, safe play, long third down offense because the Steelers eat that shit alive. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm honestly a little bit excited because the Steelers aren't an explosive offense. They run the ball and we have no run defense, which I'm afraid about. But there's going to be a lot of young, unproven players on that Cowboys defense. No DeMarcus Lawrence and no Micah Parsons. Those have been the staple of the middle of the Cowboys. Those have been the staple of the middle of the Cowboys defense for 2 seasons now. So now you've got a bunch of young guys that are trying to make a name for themselves that have had very limited playing time, especially in big moments so far this season. They have nothing to lose. Fly around the field. Go make plays. Like, test yourselves. Go crazy. And we're going to need some turnovers. So these are the kind of games where Trayvon Diggs thrives because they don't have an explosive game. He needs to step up and make a play. We need other people to step up and make a play. This Carson guy needs to figure it out because he's been fucking dog shit. So I don't know who the Steelers' number 2 receiver is, but like hopefully he can guard that guy.
Yeah, I forget who it is. It's Mooney's on the Falcons. I forget.
Yeah, it's like fucking, I don't know. It was Allen Robinson last year. Like, it's nobody.
The Steelers' recipe for a win in this game is much simpler than the Cowboys. I think you have to agree there. If they take CeeDee Lamb out of this game, your biggest playmaker, the Cowboys aren't winning this game. So he needs to get open, and that's not as simple, especially against a Steelers defense like this. It could happen. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Picture this. It's a 14-0 game going into the middle of the second quarter. The Steelers have controlled the game. And, just at this point, maybe Dak, he does the thing where fourth quarter, he gets a lot of yards and they make it a 3-point game at the end of the game. But you knew who the better football team was all day. Maybe they make it interesting at the end, but you saw who the better team was all day, like you saw with the Saints and Ravens. Mike, my question is, if that happens, is the Cowboys season over? It's not even just like them losing, but losing like that, where they just never even had a chance to win the game because of the talent.
I'll say no, but not because of the Cowboys, because of the NFC East.
That's fair.
This I think you could also one of those classic years of pre 4 or 5 years ago, where the NFC East would get one team into the playoffs. It would be the 4-seed division winner who would go 8-8, maybe 9-7. the Eagles aren't going to run away with this thing. The Commanders aren't going to run away with this thing. The Giants are bad. The Cowboys clearly aren't going to run away with this thing. I think they're all going to beat each other up within the division. I think the Cowboys have a chance in every single division game, just as every other NFC East team does in divisional games. Is the season over? No. But it depends on what your expectation of the season is. If you want to win a Super Bowl, like, yeah, the season is pretty much over after this week. Like, that proves, hey, we can't win a Super Bowl. Now,
Correct.
6 to 8 weeks from now, when Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence and Brandon Cooks and whoever, maybe Devontae Adams after we trade for him, maybe, but the season is at least on like a 2-month hiatus.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of Devontae Adams, I saw something funny. There were some Twitter guys talking about like he's officially on the trading block and what the best fit for him would be. And they talked about teams with needs. And they said, well, the greatest thing about the Cowboys possibly being in these talks, just because of the fact that he can fit their salary cap. It goes down each week because the Raiders are paying him each week. So every week that goes by, more teams could afford him. Right now, the Cowboys are one of 5 teams that could afford him. Oh. And the best part is they won't do it because they don't make splash moves like this. If they theoretically did it, though, it would be the most Cowboys thing possible to have issues with the O-line, issues with the running back, issues with the defensive line, issues with the secondary, issues with everywhere on the field except at wide receiver 1, right? And then go get a wide receiver because that solves no problems.
Who's, by the way, a wide receiver 1 in the cut. He's not a wide receiver 2. He probably wouldn't want to go to the Cowboys. You know who would be great on the Cowboys?
Who?
Amari Cooper. They should trade for that guy.
No.
Oh, wait. They traded him away for a 4th round pick and some crackers. Oh, Jerry. Big Jerry game, too.
He needed to go, though. He needed to go to make space for CeeDee Lamb, so I'm okay with it.
I don't know if that's true. There's always room to make space. We paid our top 2 receivers. This is also Jerry Jones' game because of what you pointed out. The new guys on defense having to prove a point. Let's see how well this 81-year-old GM has drafted in the past years. Intriguing game. I am excited. It'll be good.
Me too. Going to be a good Sunday. I'm happy I'm not working. Yeah. I can fully dial in.
Yeah, what are you doing this weekend?
So I am working tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I am working on Saturday as well. There's a Caps preseason game. We're almost a week away from the home opener, which is going to be super sick. And then actually the next 3 weeks, I'm off on Sunday and Monday. So instead of my weekends being Saturday and Sunday, I've officially hopped on the Sunday and Monday train.
Beautiful schedule. That's a great sketch. Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice during the week when like everyone else has to like go to work and I can like sleep in or like I can be productive if I want to.
You can't day drink on Saturday. That's the negative, but yeah.
Oh, trust me, I'd love to have weekends, but there's give and take.
Yeah, and Friday nights too, I guess, get taken away. But like just having Monday off sounds fucking awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to get off early tomorrow and possibly make a decision to go to the Fisher concert.
Oh my God. Go.
At Echo Stage in DC, one of like the greatest venues in like the world, supposedly, that I still haven't been to. I think that's going to happen.
I've heard that's a good venue. It's no Red Rocks, but it's great. I'm a huge DJ guy. I go to shows every month at least. Fisher, when he did a back-to-back with Chris Lake in Denver 2 years ago, was the best set I've ever seen. He's your type of guy. We went to Hangout Fest and I introduced you to like EDM music, right? But he has just banger after banger. It's impossible not to be happy at a Fisher concert. Like there's no like weird set he'll do that's like, ooh, that was weirder. I wish he had played his bang. No, he'll play every single banger. The crowd will be hyped up. He's the best like performing DJ, like stage presence wise, that there is. Definitely go to that. You will have so much fun. He's great.
Yeah, I'm pumped. As long as I get off work in time, then I'm there. And it's going to be awesome. Saturday will be one of the worst days of my life at work, but can't live for tomorrow, you know? Got to live for today.
Did I tell you that Kevin Hawley's moving to Denver?
You did.
Isn't that crazy?
That is such a wild card.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting for sure. He'll probably be sleeping on my couch for a bit, too. So hey, who knows? Maybe Kevin will get to see us do the podcast for a bit and give just people will understand if they don't know Kevin Hawley.
He's not a ball knower, but he would bring some good stuff to this.
My company's name is Total, and we're doing a work event tomorrow at this bar called Rhinehouse, and it's like an indoor bocce ball bar. I don't know if you played bocce ball, but we call it Octotal Fest, right? I think I'm even going to throw on the lederhosen just to be the company mascot.
Nice.
But we do a big tournament, right? Everyone gets a team where I'm defending champ, so got to defend the title. Free beer, right? By the way, Sober October already dead. I had a beer last night, or 4 or 5. So that'll be fun. Not a ton of weekend plans. Probably football, going to the mountains before it gets too cold. You know, just but I like not having plans on the weekend. Next weekend I might be in Vegas for my birthday. My birthday's on Thursday, October 10th. We'll have a podcast coming out that day. So, you know, I expect my lock of the week to obviously hit that week.
It can't not on your birthday, right?
No. Why would Vegas do that to me?
The sports gods would never do that.
Right. Well, but I think people forget I quit gambling, so that's a podcast. Mike, good job. You did a great job leading it. It went even longer than we expected, but I thought that was one of our better ones we've done. That was good.
Cool. That's all I got.
I think I'll either go 0-16 or 16-0 this week. I look at my picks one time and I'm like, ooh. And then I look at them again and I'm like, oh, ooh. So we'll see. Let me count real quick how many times we faded each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We faded each other 8 times, and that's with me taking the Cowboys. So half the games, well, more than half, because we didn't pick the Falcons Saints game. We faded each other, so one of us should be more victorious than the other.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go 16-0. So this is sick. That means you'll go 8-8. Good job.
Right. Yep. There we go. Or 7-8. Yeah. It's a good week. Just give me my lock of the week. That's all I want. Cardinals plus 7.5. Mike, what's your lock of the week? Oh, it's Bears. I hate that pick. You did the same thing you did with the Steelers. You were like, oh, I should have lock of the week. Like, I'll do it again.
No, the difference was the Steelers, I actually took them as my lock of the week the week before.
All right. Yeah. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Cool. Well, that's a podcast, guys. Mike, why not us?
Why not us?
Peace.